So we back another Wide Out Wednesdays episode 11.
11, yeah.
Yeah, so we ripping and running now, bro.
For sure.
Yeah, so this edition episode, obviously no guest today, but
Just us,
me
just the guys.
me and Jalen talking ball. If you're new, definitely tap in, subscribe, all that good stuff. Follow us on Instagram at Wide Out Wednesdays podcast. Definitely share that, download all that good stuff. But
For sure.
definitely wanna pop it off and start talking some ball. Last couple episodes, we kind of been just kind of not beating around the bush, but getting to know some new people.
Yeah,
hearing their stories, talking about just general stuff. But want to get into some detailed stuff today. So, like I was telling you this morning, I always end up scrolling Instagram or Twitter, and obviously there's a lot of football pages that I follow. But I just keep seeing the same thing over and over again with just guys not attacking vertical and not eating up space.
Yeah.
When they're doing drill work, when they're practice clips, whatever it is. And I feel like that's almost like a lost art or just not getting taught, and everyone's worried about releases or breaks or whatever else, catching, whatever, which is all stuff you need to work. But like I feel like people are missing that, and like you're going through drill work, pad level up, chest is up. Like you look good out your breaks, but like you're not finna move nobody off a spot.
Yeah, like how does that translate to the actual game and getting the DB to move, like you said, move off the spot where you want him to go?
Yeah. So we definitely want to talk about that, but I'll let you kind of go first.
No, yeah, I think kind of just touching on like the Instagram thing. I think a lot of people like they want to like get, we always talk about it with us, like we want to stay true to who we are and kind of like put good stuff out there that's actually going to translate to a game, and eventually that's going to result in a following and everything. But I think people try to get the splash or get the little Instagram cut up reels and stuff, and so they want to get those highlights, and everybody wants the new funky release or the the at the top of the route, giving them some sauce, and like it looks good and everything, and it might be applicable a little bit, but at the end of the day, every single route, we always talk about that vertical pressure. So that's just it. Like making every route look like a go route at some point. Even a 5-yard hitch, you got to get those knees up and really create that drive. And I think that's like a lot of problems guys have is like when they're coming off the line and they're telegraphing some of their routes and not really we always talk about selling the illusion that you're going vertical and that you're going deep, but you don't have to be running full speed, and that's like kind of another thing.
We're working on. Been working on that with one of my guys about like, hey, you don't got to run your routes full speed, but if you give the illusion with arms, knee drive, shoulders down, I'm digging, almost like you're running a 100-meter dash. Like that's enough to get a DB to back pedal open up, and now when he opens up, like you should be able to win that 9 times out of 10, if not 10 times out of 10, unless you're going against a Jalen Ramsey or somebody that's got good hips and they can flip and get back and break too. But especially at the high school level, it's like, man, if you can get a guy to turn and run, like he's not covering you on a comeback or a curl or a dig. So I think that's something that people forget about, and it's like, you can work all the drills and break work and releases, but when you get in the game, like it looks good, but like you're not gonna get open because you're not pushing nobody off the spot. And that's really my thing is like I feel like there's 3 places you can win at receiver as far as like where you can win in the rep. So at the line of scrimmage, that's 1. In the stem, that's 2. So kind of like your build up to the transition, or I'm running by the guy, and then the last place at the top of the break plus the catch point. Kind of put those together. So sometimes you might not have a break. It might just be
keep going to go route,
a go ball or something, or a post where it's not really like it's a break, but it's pretty simple. So really the catch point and the break kind of put them together. So I feel like everybody works the 1 and 3, but the two
to get
you kind of
left
just
out.
Look over it. And I don't know what you think, but like I feel like some of it, like some guys, like I feel like they need to run track.
Oh, 100%. I mean, I think even I don't think I ran track my freshman year because I had in my head, I was light. Like I needed to get some varsity playing time my freshman year and stuff. So I was like, I need to gain weight. Like so I'm not gonna run track because if you run track, then you don't gain weight. Like, and it was just like, man, like no, I needed to be running track. Like that was like my biggest deal was like the speed. I think you just learn how to run. You learn how to train. You learn how to like you said, that knee drive, getting that core strength up and all that kind of stuff. That's needed at receiver, like in that, like you said, that transition period. A lot of times, like everybody's just working the 5-yard cone routes and all that stuff, and that's good for foot placement. There's a use for it, but even then, when you're doing those drills, you got to be careful with not having that high pad level and rising up and down and kind of making it as game-like as possible, but still within a confined area. I think that's kind of like the biggest difference there with that. But I don't know. I kind of, when we talk about this, it reminds me of that Devontae Adams video. I don't know. We kind of talk about it. He's like, guys, you always want to ask, like, what's the best thing to do? Like, go out and run full speed routes. Like, what are you going to be running? You're going to be running curls, digs, like slants. Like, go out there and just run them. You know what I mean? Run full speed. So I think your drill work should be similar to whatever that is. And so, like, creating those stems and running full speed in the brakes and really working on that knee drive and not just kind of working on the top of the routes because it looks good. You know what I mean?
And I feel like we noticed that a lot too. And even in our training, like guys, like they might have that burst off the line and look good, but then it's that step before they decelerate, that trigger step. It shortens, or they raise pad level up, or the arm starts swinging and doing all bunch of crazy stuff, and that's indicators. And that's really the biggest reason why this is so important, why we're talking about it, because if you can learn how to run routes with no indicators, like they don't know, DB doesn't know what you're about to do.
Exactly.
And you create more space, more separation. The goal is to catch the ball with nobody around you. I think people forget that. It's like the goal is not to be covered. So it's like you want the picture to look like, I get out my break or I come out of my comeback break and like there's nobody in the picture.
Routes first there.
Yeah. So and that looks good with quarterback. He looks up and he's on your read and nobody's around you. Ball's probably coming out.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, man, I think if you need to run track.
Yeah,
I'll put it that way at some point. I mean, I get it if you're.
I mean, if you're a baseball guy, or I guess that's really the only. I don't know. Like we had some guys trying to play lacrosse, like which I mean, I guess there's a need. You could do both and everything, but there's just certain sports that
correlate
better with football. I think track being one of those,
especially at wideout.
Yeah, especially at wideout,
because you learn that dry phase,
exactly,
getting off the block start, which is getting off the ball, and not popping up off the line. But yeah, I think doing that it makes it so much easier because then when you get to football, it's the same thing. Except you're not in the block start.
And injury wise, I think we were talking about it with one of our best speed guys around Revere. We were talking with him earlier, and he was just saying like track, just built like that progressive loading and getting stronger and everything. It's really good as far as just like preventing injuries and everything else. A lot of guys they want to kind of steer away from running, but it's like, nah, man, if you're not running and then you get into the basis of summer camp and all that kind of stuff, that's when the hammies and all that kind of stuff start coming up. So
and as we're talking about this too, I'm thinking about guys that you can go watch and see what it should look like when I'm running my full speed dig or I'm running my curl comeback. I think about Julio Jones. Was great at that. Like you watch him run routes, like he's not running full speed, but it looks like it. Shoulders are down, he's digging. Big arms, big knee lift. Calvin Ridley, another one. Think about the Atlanta guys when he was at Atlanta.
Yeah, for sure.
But Calvin Ridley he's good at that, like coming off the ball, driving, not raising up before the break, like not raising up in it, like while he's in the stem. And that threatens the DB. You watch all those clips, like them DBs
they're out of there. They might not even be you track them on the mile per hour. They may not even be running that fast, but it's like, oh no, he's going deep.
He's going deep.
He's giving the illusion that he's, you know what I mean? It's go ball. So AJ Brown.
AJ Brown. Yeah, he definitely has a good get off.
He's getting better at the get off and everything.
But those are two for me. I think about Calvin and Julio.
I was thinking AJ Green.
AJ Green.
Yeah. Back, he's a little bit older now, but
he retired, I think.
Yeah, exactly. But when he was in there, he really was one of those guys that was smooth in the transition, but also he made everything kind of look the same. He's you didn't really know what he was going to run until it got to the point, and it was just sudden dropping his hips type of deal. So.
I want to say Jefferson does a good job with that.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
A lot of his stuff, he kind of doesn't really give any indicators. He's real good with his speed cuts too. I know his speed cut game is really nice. He'll be running full speed at you and then just boop, and then I'm going out in the out route or you know what I mean, a dig or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So.
And obviously we're on the 7-on-7 circuit, and we're seeing guys do pro days and stuff around now. So it's for me, it kind of I'm like, dang, ain't nobody telling these dudes. So we telling you right now, hey, if you find yourself running routes or you're doing drill work and you feel like you're not running full speed, pad levels up, the best thing you can do, what would you say the best thing you could do? I always put guys on the band, sled, and just practice just running with something, you pulling something, that's what you want it to feel like. And then you take it off and start to run the routes with that same intensity, like you pulling something, and that kind of can drill it in. But what for you, like, what do you think is?
I think I think like you said, like get that 45-degree angle. Like anytime you can kind of get that and keep that. I think it starts with your stance and start though too. A lot of times guys are starting up, so then they're trying to drop down, so they're already like changing plane. So I always try to tell guys, like, if you can start in that 45-degree like shin angles, all that stuff. Then you're running in there, and then that's where you break from anyway. So, like, really, there's no time.
You should be always start here and kind of stay here. Most guys, like, they start here, and they get here before the break, and then down, and then back up out the break. But it's like, if you can just
go,
break, back to level, like,
exactly.
That's where you want to be.
Exactly, and it's smooth. It's like, and it's not wasted energy, not all that kind of stuff. Yeah. But even then, like, sometimes it may just be like getting some stuff to band you up to, create those angles better, or sometimes it could be just slowing down. I think guys need to like learn how to run properly, not even at full speed, if that makes any sense. Because that's where I think we find a lot of our guys, our faster guys, they may be trying to like run full speed, and we have to kind of like bring them down a little bit. Like, hey, like you're running, but now it's affecting your break point. So it's kind of like know what problem you have. Like if you're having the problem of staying high, then you probably should do something like you were saying, where get some kind of bands, have somebody pull you, so you kind of have to feel like you're pulling something. And maybe if you're running too fast and you're having trouble at your break point, it could just be as simple as like, hey man, like learn how to run slower routes.
And I think what can help a lot of guys too is doing flies, because that helps you learn how to control your speed over a 10, 15, 20-yard length. I feel like a lot of guys, they don't know, like they just know one speed, like they don't know how to get off the ball and look like it's 100%, but it's really like 80.
For sure.
But keep that illusion. But I think like doing flies. So if you know what a fly is, it's get off the ball, boom. I hit a 5-yard mark or a 10-yard mark, and I let off the gas, but I'm not slowing down. I'm just I'm striding through that, say 10, 15 yards, and then I pick speed up again once I hit 20. So just working on that change of pace, change of tempo. I think that can be big.
Run
track. Exactly. Just run track, bro. Just run track. But yeah, and I definitely want to talk about that, and I just hate seeing it, man.
Yeah, and that's like, and everybody wants to run those little short like jerk routes and everything, the choice routes and all that stuff, and I think it's all good. I mean, that's a huge part of football, quick game. But at some point, you're gonna have to push the DB. You got to open it up. Anybody, they're just gonna start sitting on everything. I don't care how good you are going back and forth. Like if you don't give the illusion that I can go deep and I can beat you deep, then you're kind of done, and
you ain't gonna make it.
You ain't gonna make it. You know what I mean? So it gets easy for defenses then, and they can kind of like start making you one-dimensional and everything. So
I think it's harder for slot guys. I feel like I've noticed. Because they're running like more of the like I'm breaking at 5 or it's quick in and out. I feel like I don't have time to like
to sell that
sell my direction. I gotta like kind of stay where I can be twitchy, which I think is something to that. But I think even those guys need to learn how to do that, but learn how to do it another way too.
Exactly. And know when, you know what I mean? Know the timing, like know what you need to do. I think sometimes slot guys, a lot of times they're used to clear something out. Whether, they might not be a clear out route per se, but even if they're running a dig, it might be to like press vertical and then come inside in the dig, but they're really like pushing that. They're walling off that backer for something else coming underneath. So, but if you know that and you know the whole, I think kind of getting into, we're talking about, what makes you better in the slot. We were just talking about that. But knowing like where you fit in, I always talk, that's like my biggest thing. Like knowing where you fit in the offense. I think outside receiver, it's pretty important, but for the most part, you're probably running your route and then getting open. But I mean, in the slot, it's even more like important because you have to worry about usually 2 defenders. You're usually not just getting guarded by one guy. It's usually like an underneath defender and then also like somebody
over top.
The third level or over top. So, so kind of like knowing like where you fit in the route. Like if I need to clear out, like I don't have time to get off the ball and do all this pretty. Like let me make it look pretty. Like I just need to probably go. Like so. And that would be one of those instances where you would sell the vertical because you want them to open up because you're trying to come back underneath. So, I guess just like that'd be my other biggest thing is just study, know where you're at in the slot. Like the best slot guys are always like the smartest guys, like the Edelmans, the Keenan Allens, like all those guys. Like they know how and when to get open. I'm trying to even like the best tight ends. You look at tight ends. They know like the Travis Kelce's and the whoever else is out there that they just
Goddard
exactly. Like I mean, you get out there and like we always talk about it, and we're like, Kelsey's like, does he have a route? Like, you don't even really know sometimes, but he knows the defense so well, so he kind of just slithers in there and then opens back up and then breaks out to the outside. Now he's open, type of deal.
But he's running though too.
But he's running though, and he's going vertical, because you see guys and they're like, oh, like if they're not running, they get ran past. So, I think it just all ties in together. Vertical pressure, like football's at the end of the day, it is a horizontal game, but
you got to be able to move people.
You got to be able to go,
or they'll just sit and squat.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I feel like a lot of guys run into that. They get, like last year we were doing one-on-ones, and I think it was Tyre, like he was just squatting. They ain't know what to do with it, but it's like you playing with the first 10 yards, and like I know the ball got to come out
at some point. Timing, So
but if you get off the ball, it's like either he got to open it up with you, or you got to get hands on you. Yeah. Either one. It's one or two options. Instead of I get off the ball slow and take my time, try to wiggle and all that, and then by the time I get to 8-7 yards, he know the ball got to come out, because you done took all day to get there.
Exactly.
Doing all whatever else.
So by the time he collisions you, what I mean?
The ball's coming out.
It's out. Yeah, it's over with.
It's a wrap. So I think that's a underrated attribute and an underrated skill set to work on. Is just vertical presence, getting off the ball, and winning with speed.
Yeah.
I heard we had him on the podcast a couple episodes ago. Coach Tim Legler from Louisiana Lafayette. He said, win with speed.
Yeah.
That's what you see pop up over in the game. If you watch game clips and stuff, like it pops up over and over again. Whether you avoiding the collisions or I'm trying to get on my brakes faster. Like dudes are just winning with speed.
Yeah.
So I feel like there's something to that. If you don't work it, like you won't win with speed.
You can't. You won't be able to do it. You won't be able to just like. Yeah, if you don't train at a certain level, then you can't, replicate that whenever it comes time to replicate it. So, like you said, if you're doing half speed drills, if you practice like that, then you're gonna get in the game and it's gonna look like that. Like we'll see some guys sometimes and we'll watch tape and we'll and not like we're hating on them, we're just kind of critiquing their game and stuff. And then like you go back and you're like find out who they train with, and then like you go look at the drills that they were doing, and it's kind of like.
Self-explanatory.
Okay, self-explanatory. It makes sense. Like this is how they trained it. This is how like it, shows itself in the game. So, how you train is how you play. Honestly, at the end of the day, that's a fact. That's a fact. You can't get around it. You can't think I'm just gonna do this stuff and my skills. At some point, your training's gonna take over. And it's gonna you're gonna revert back to your old ways. So
whatever you're comfortable with.
Exactly. So.
But
that's that, bro. I don't know.
that's it on that. But no, definitely. Tap in with the WideOutFlix. It's our HUDL library. It's got route cut-ups, drill work cut-ups, all that stuff. First 25 people, we're doing 25 a month. You get access to all of that, and we upload into that weekly. So I think, about Julio. I was watching, we uploaded some Julio clips on there.
Yeah.
I was watching some Jordan Addison. He was pretty good at that vertical presence too. So if you want those cut-ups, clips, and be able to tap in with that, definitely. Tap in. We'll put the link in the bio and the description, whatever you want to call it. I'm not good with all the social media stuff, but wherever it's gonna be on this video or on this podcast link. So definitely tap in with that. Be a student of the game. We learned that last episode.
Yeah.
Be a student of the game. We're putting all this stuff in there for you guys. So binge watch instead of binge watching Netflix or HBO Max, whatever y'all doing. So
take 20 minutes, man.
Yeah,
25 minutes every day. Like you'd be amazed about like how much you could learn just in a week or in a month and a whole off season time.
And let us know what you want to see on there too. Like we're adding stuff every week. So if there's something that like, hey, I want to see, Keenan Allen, or I want to see whoever's offense, like we'll find it and get it on there. So.
Man, there's so much stuff in there to really tap into. That's a huge resource that I wish I would have had. Kind of, I'm out there like going through YouTube and trying to find everything myself. But after you watch the first, 5 guys stuff, you've done seen everything basically. So it's kind of like we're putting new stuff in there every week. So
I'm putting drill work in there too that we're doing too. So you guys can follow that. And obviously, you got questions, reach out or come train with us.
Yep,
it ain't hard to find. So, but man, that's good talk. Definitely. Like the video, share it with somebody if you found this one helpful. And definitely we'll be back next week with a guest or talking ball again or whatever else y'all want to hear about. So definitely shoot us a message on Instagram. Hey, I want to learn more about this or that. We'll make sure we add it to our list to talk about in future episodes. So But that's it, and we'll let y'all have it, bro.
Sounds good.
Peace.